$7 million from our general fund to be able to cover those costs. So it is definitely an area that if we want to continue to support classrooms and so forth, we need to take a look at how we can save revenue. Currently, the district offers 2 home-to-school transportation lines. One is from Mount Diablo High School out to Delta View, out to Bay Point, and the other one is in the Bay Point area to go to Delta View Elementary School, and Delta View Elementary is the only one that is currently getting home-to-school transportation. So one of the recommendations that we're looking at is to no longer provide that transportation. We did go back and look at the notes of the committees that were when the school was open, and one of the concerns and the reason why the line was originally started was that the roads didn't go through underneath the freeway, and all those roads are now in place. So we are recommending that for next school year that we would no longer offer that point of transportation. The other is on our overflow transportation, and the reason why we want to start dialogue now is that as families move in and we have to identify that they have overflow, we would like to be able to tell them, here's our policy. It is a board policy, so if the board gives me direction tonight to move forward with this one, we would bring it back in the next board as actually a change to policy. Currently, we provide overflow transportation no matter if you're just going from one school in your neighborhood to another school that's nearby. Our recommendation is to take a look at creating a sort of a 5-mile zone, and if we're having to transport you over 5 miles because of overflow, we would still provide that. But if you're within sort of that 5-mile jurisdiction, that you would be responsible for your own overflow transportation. Back in January and February, when we brought this to the board for the first time, we showed that other districts in the county and in the region, what they do around overflow, and many of them have, stopped offering overflow transportation. So that is, again, this is an information item tonight, and we're just bringing it to the board for conversation.
So I do have 2 public comment cards on it. The first one is Gloria Coward.
Thank you for moving it up. My kids are asleep. So I was concerned about the Delta View Elementary School because my kids go there, and single parent, and I leave early in the morning, and because I work in the city, so I really rely on the transportation for the kids. I drop them off at a neighbor's house, and then they walk down the street to the bus stop. So you're absolutely not going to have the transportation to Delta View.
Well, tonight's an information item, so
you're still working on it?
Yes.
Okay. That's all I need to know. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Willie Mims.
I think there is another parent who didn't know they needed to no, Mr. Mims, please, but maybe we can get a card to the other parent who did not know that they needed to fill out a card in order to speak.
It looked like I arrived just in time for this item. Anyway, to the board, Willie Mims, representing the East County branch in the NAACP and Pittsburgh Black Political Association. To the board superintendents, we urge you, board, not to approve the transportation changes. We question and challenge the staff report when they cited FSMAC and the so-called audit that they conducted, in which a draft report of it will be presented at the end of June. Well, what's in that report, and why wasn't at least a summation of it provided for public viewing? At this time, the people do not know if the FSMAC report justifies the transportation cuts. And my organization, however, feels that Delta View has been made a scapegoat. We also feel that by withholding these needed services, serious concerns revolving around environmental justice become placed on top of the table. And with it comes the issue of race. Now, at Delta View, there is at least 95% of the students are students of color. Now, those students will be both negatively and disproportionately impacted by these changes. Now, is Delta View Elementary the only elementary school that will be facing these transportation cuts within the Mount Diablo School District? If it is not, then we have a problem. And so the problem is that no school or no specific group of people, especially when it comes to minorities, should be disproportionately impacted by some decisions that you make. In other words, the environmental justice law gives some protection to these specific groups. And so my question is, if you don't have other schools that have not received any transportation cuts, then you are creating a problem for this particular school, the Delta View, and the students who attend there. And what is $150,000 anyway? When you're talking about a $7 million cut, I mean, transferring funds from one program to another. $150,000 is basically nothing. Also, it says that in the report, they will notify the parents. Well, the parents should be part of any decision that's made. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there another card on this one? Okay.